before I met Jennifer, Nelson Hole came up to me, which is Jennifer's legislative aide, and we started to talk. And she explained to me that Councilmember Ruggles was there, and that he started to share with me that he was somewhat familiar with my work because his good friend is Tom Kaufman. And Tom Kaufman came up with his book, Nation Within, The History of the American Occupation of Hawaii. So that was our talking points, right? And then after that, I was able to meet with Jennifer. She was newly elected as a council member. And for myself, I don't push this on anybody, but I just said people gotta get educated. They need to be informed of information. That's the key. So we talked and I said, well, she said she wanted to learn more about this because what she was hearing was quite shocking, right? And I gave her some paperwork to read over, and then I haven't heard from her for over a year. Now this last month, I get an email from Jennifer. She said, sorry for not responding sooner, but she finally finished reading the paper. I was like, wow, it took a whole year? No, I'm joking. But I was thinking, did it take a whole year to finish the paper? I didn't know it was that dense, but I guess it was pretty, yeah. But she said she was busy with everything else, and I totally understood. I said, not a problem, let's get together. So we got together at a restaurant, and she wanted clarity on the paperwork that she read, and she had some really good questions. Terminology, this and that, and went over it. And then she tells me that it is clear to her Hawaii's occupied. And I said, good. And then a turning point for her was the desires letter from the United Nations, because now you have an outside entity coming in and making a statement which only confirmed what she read in my paper. It's not that Desires came up with the Rosetta Stone that cracked this puzzle, right? He's only referring to the law of occupation, the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and the violations of it by the United States. Now when Desires said, and I brought this up with her in our meeting, that the state of Hawaii courts cannot pillage or plunder, excuse me, the term plunder, private property. And then also specifically stating that the state of Hawaii courts cannot enable or collude in the wrongful taking of lands, okay? Now I told her that the Hague and Geneva Conventions apply during a state of war. They don't apply during a state of peace. Military personnel know what the Hague and Geneva Conventions are, and this UN expert, speaking on behalf of the United Nations, is basically acknowledging Hawaii's in a state of war and that it's under military occupation, and that the United States must administer the laws of the occupied state. Now, what the letter didn't do was address what happens when you violate the Hague and Geneva Conventions. He was merely saying you must comply, right? When you violate the Hague and Geneva Conventions, and according to Amnesty International, I'll point to them in their definition, because it's the basic definition, war crimes are crimes that violate the laws and customs of war that is in the Hague and Geneva Conventions. So that's the direct tie from violating the Hague and Geneva Conventions to war crimes, okay? Now, when judges are making decisions in courts, they're making decisions based upon legislation that has been passed either at the county level and or the state level, right? They carry out those statutes. That is what brought her to the position where, am I liable? So it stemmed directly from the UN letter, not from me, the UN memorandum. If anything, the UN memorandum only acknowledged what she already began to understand. So I told her, I said, now let me back up. There's something that I didn't divulge to her yet, which I did later. Okay. And she's gonna take a similar track that this other person took.